Hey everyone, it's Joe Carrell. I'm here in my mix room today for Fact Friday. Fact, that's hard to say. Fact. Fackety fact. Don't talk back. Tickin', tickin', tickin'.
Do different EQs and compressors really sound very different from one another?
100%. That's something I really try to sew into younger guys because it seems like a lot of them get caught up on a specific, extremely versatile digital EQ. And they use it on everything. I've seen some other guys teach that method. Everything from the stereo bus to every individual track there is. As good as those EQs are, and as versatile as they are, and I use them too. I promise I'm not anti digital EQ because they're all over my mixes. For example, like the filters, the high pass filters and low pass filters, you can't get better than that. But that said, if you push 5K into an SSL, whether it's the real hardware or a well-done analog, a digital model in an EQ form, and you push 5K in an API, and then you push 5K on a Neve, you're going to find out that they're radically different. The cool thing about that is we can build character and depth and dimension within our mixes by diversifying. So it's not that we quit using our surgical digital tools that can do all kinds of great things. It's that we can say, I think these drums would just really slap if we had, the lean punch of an API on everything except the kick drum. And then I'm going to go Neve, right? But on the room mics, I need that SSL thing because the channel strip has that incredible fast attack compressor. And then on the guitars, we have to have that SSL just in your face bite, that punch that they do. Except maybe our track count is adding up and we have several guitar passes. So we're kind of boosting them in the same range. And there's this one guitar part that's kind of being masked. All of a sudden, enter API. And you can boost the same frequency by the same amount, but it will pop through the mix and find its way through the mix just because the sound of 5K is different on that unit. So I'm a massive believer. My stereo bus, I have like 5 different choices that I use from because I know that, yes, I could just bring up any Pultec and mix any record through it because they're amazing. However, what I've found over the years is that, wait a minute, if I switch to a solid state type of Pultec, whether it's a solid state Pultec or the Better Maker, like I have behind me, the bottom end is tighter. So I want that sound for that song as opposed to the tube. Maybe I want the curve bender thing because it handles mids and transients in a very, very different way. I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. I did do a video on it, though, that maybe you should watch if you haven't. EQ circuits very, very much matter to me. And I think it's one of the things in the growth of a younger mix engineer that is currently using these great digital tools. When they compare their mixes to mine or Warren's or somebody else's, they're like, there's something that's still missing. It seems a little two-dimensional and a little sterile. Whereas if they listen to mine or Mark's or whatever, they're like, yours is popping in a different way. How is that happening? It literally could be the punch of an analog EQ or various analog EQs that just give it just an extra 5% of dimension that you want, because that extra 5% could be everything. I mean, to me, mixing a song is like 500 small choices that make that much difference. But those 500 choices of that much difference add up to that mix that we're all like, wow, that's the best representation of that song I can imagine. And that's what we're chasing. So I believe that analogs, EQs or analog modeled EQs are a huge part of that.
What are your favorite reference tracks from as many different genres as possible?
Oh, wow. That you're bringing the heat with that question. The thing with me is that I work in a ton of genres. So it can literally be everything from like a Michael Bublé or something that's really sought after and well done in the Broadway type jazz world, right? Harry Connick Jr., like on that extreme. In the orchestral world, I mean, gosh, how can you compare with Walt Disney and what they've done, some of the movie tracks? In the aggressive stuff, I really like Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown on the rock side. It's kind of raw, but kind of polished. They've just done some really, really cool stuff. Let's see, on the pop side, Ed Sheeran, that's something that I'll listen to sometime. If I haven't mixed a pop track in a couple months, because I've been on a binge of something else. Bringing up something of his that is kind of a go-to for me. Ariana Grande, because I know that Serban does her stuff, and seems like he's set the standard, So that's a couple in the pop world. Let's see, in country. Country is such a moving target, guys. It's sometimes we're working on artists that want a traditional, like maybe let's say a Chris Stapleton would be a good reference, right? Sometimes it's the real modern country, and we're looking at something maybe the more Luke Bryan kind of thing, Jason Aldean, leaning that direction. Those are some good tracks that I would probably reference. I don't think I give you anything in the hip hop world because I don't really do a lot of work in that genre, but I think that's some great material in some of the other genres that you'll cover.
How important is pre-production and how long should it last?
How long should it last, I think, is different for every album. I come across artists that have a really clear vision of what they want, and I have artists come in that they don't know. they don't know what they want. They're relying on me and the musicians to try to build an identity for them. So I don't know that there's a really good answer for that. But that said, pre-production in and of itself is really, really vital. When I bring a group of musicians into a studio, let's say it's a tracking session where I'm going to have a live drummer, especially if I'm paying studio musicians, live studio musician, stud, guitar player, keyboard player. They are charged by the session, by the hour for their expertise. We're paying studio time. We're paying studio, for the tuning, maybe even instrument delivery, all of that kind of thing. So if we just go in there willy-nilly expecting everything to come out right at the end of the day, I think we're selling ourselves, we're selling the artists and their art short. I feel like me and the artists need to be in a room crafting our ideas and really going into the session with a firm game plan. For example, I like to go into a studio session setting, and when we're listening to the demo of the song, whether we're using professional studio musicians or not, give the guys my thoughts on behalf of the artist. Like if I'm acting as the producer, me and my artist are telling them, hey, what I really think this needs to be. I would love it to stay driven by an acoustic guitar. I don't want the drums to come in until verse 2, things like that. And then let those guys take their artistic expertise and come back at us. But it's going to be much quicker because we've already got our basic outline kind of planned out. Even though we're open to their ideas, we have a plan going in, and we're going to save money and we're going to get better tracks out of it. So I think it's very important.
What are your thoughts on future of music business when AI is advancing to the point of recreating voices and even writing songs in the style of the artist you want?
I got to be honest, I'm not overly worried about it. I've been worried in the past because drum machines were going to spell the end of drummers, except it didn't. Keyboards were going to spell the end of live orchestras in studios, except that it didn't. Napster was going to destroy all our lives, but here we are still making a living. I'm just not overly concerned. I feel like it's really easy. It's human nature sometimes to paint the gloom and doom image, because we are, I think, fearful by nature. But I think time has proven over and over again that really we find a way to incorporate what we do into that new technology, and things just advance and get better. I mean, think of like streaming now. Any song we want at our fingertips. People that would have never made any money whatsoever off of old catalog material because people didn't own that record or that CD, or they're no longer buying it. Now they can stream it, and all of a sudden there's a quarterly check going to people that would have never otherwise. So I think we just find ways to use things to our advantage, and I feel like AI will probably be one of those. Well, I hope you guys got something from that, but it is time for me to go eat some lunch, so I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks for watching, and happy mixing, guys.